How's it going? This is Eric with my Concurrent final project. So basically, this project is the idea is to allow multiple clients to either look up a stock individually for its price and other information like that, or to construct a stock portfolio of multiple stocks that the user has invested in that's shared amongst all the clients of the server and can be outputted or exported into a text file, right? And then the big idea of this is basically, right, personal or companies' stock portfolio, stock investments, and it's more specifically to make it easier to look at those, to analyze where you're losing money, making money, what kind of stocks you're into, etc., etc. For example, like a company may be investing into stocks, and it may have multiple employees that serve as clients to the server, and can add or remove stocks that the company presumably invested in, and then to form the company stock portfolio. And then someone can just go and look at that and then see how, like, where the company's making money, where it's losing money, and so on. To demonstrate the working of your project, I included the how to install Wi-Finance in this, but apart from that, it's pretty simple. You just do so just server.py, and then port name, which is port number, which I'll just use 3240. Okay. Same thing here, but we include localhost since it's the host name, the host IP, rather. Literally the same thing here, and then as you can see, we have 2 threads made, 2 clients connected, so on. So I'll demonstrate this by looking up an individual stock. So say we do VTI 2023-09. So this is what, like October 13th or something. So we're trying to find what the price was October 13th. All right, so October 13th, the VTI was actually like $217, and then you have various information there that I won't really go over. And then let's demonstrate adding stocks to a portfolio, and then we can do this at the same time to demonstrate concurrency. So say we bought Apple very early on, so 2001 in like January, which would be very lucky. Say we invested 100,000 into it. Okay, so that's added, and then say we invested a little bit of money into SPY, so like a couple of years later, some random date, I don't even know what that is. Let's say we invested like 250,000 into SPY, and so it should be added to the stock portfolio. And then let's actually do one more. So let's do like, I don't know, gold. And then 2021, 10, I don't know what that is. And then say we invested not that much into it. Okay, so these 3 have been added. And so if we export this on any client, right, because as you can see, the stock portfolio is shared amongst clients. So if we export this on any client, it'll give you the same thing. The combination of all of those that we just added. So say we do that, and a text file, and then this should be empty. Yeah, it's empty. Portfolio.txt. Okay, so in a few seconds it should update, and then should have those 3. Yeah, so you have Apple's, SPY, and gold with all the information. You can probably go over that at your own time. Okay, and so to demonstrate removing something, say we want to remove gold. Easy as that. Right, in a few seconds it'll update, and there will be no more gold. Oh yeah, we have to export it first, right? So now we overwrote the file, and it should just update. Okay, so the gold has just been removed. All right. And then to demonstrate updating, we can't really demonstrate this that well because this is used for example, if you make the stock portfolio like months ago, and then it's the same thing, same stocks, but different day. You want to update it that way. you do that, but I can't really demonstrate it now just because it's like a couple of minutes apart. So we can do that. And success message. Okay, and then the last thing is exporting stocks. So we've already demonstrated this, but to show you again, we can even do a different text file and it'll make a new text file, right? So my name, and so it was successful. It's going to make that in a second. Same thing as our stock portfolio.txt, right? Nothing too crazy. And now if we want to just terminate these, see, it terminates here, and then close the server. So that's that. So implementation of the server and client code. Client basically just gets the host and port from the command line. It gets the input from the client onto like what options it wants to pick. It sends that to the server. The server gets like all the like actual like information to print ready, and then it sends it back to the client, and then the client prints it, right? So you have option, you have the different inputs, it sends it to the server, and then you have the success message, or just like the contents that the server sends back to the client, and the client prints to the user to see. So the server isn't really printing stuff, the server is just doing all the dirty work, and you don't really see it. That's not for the client, really. You have, so the server is much more complicated. You have basically, after you get stuff from the command line, you have a stock list, Python list that can store objects of the class stock, which will be individual stocks in the objects of the class stock in the stock list. And this is basically just a structure, but in Python. And then you have locks, different locks. So this is a lock for the stock list, since multiple clients can write to it and read from it at the same time. And so I use that every time you read and write, basically. And in Python, it's not as complicated as C. And then the file lock is for writing to files, because there's a chance that you can write to the same file. So you use that whenever you write into files. Okay, and then you have different functions that basically do different tasks. Let me see what time we're at. Okay, 2 minutes left. For example, this one gets the individual stock. This one gets the percent change, recommendations, etc., etc. These check if the tag exists, if it's a valid date, if it's even a stock in our stock portfolio. Just different things that I used in this program. So back to the main function. Let's talk about threads more. So the server listens for a connection, and if there is a connection, it makes a new thread here, right? And then it starts a new thread. So every single time a client connects, that's a different thread, so that concurrency can be available. And then the thread runs this function, this very large function, which is a server function. And this gets the option from the client and does whatever you need it to do, right? So for example, this is looking it up. You have very many, occasions where you don't really want it to crash, so I use try and accept blocks and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much the implementation of the client and server code. So the challenges I faced, a lot of the Y-Finance library, if trying to rephrase this right, but if the Y-Finance functions, like for example, if you input the wrong tag, like if a stock tag just doesn't exist into a Y-Finance function, it just crashes it for some reason instead of just outputting a different value. And so you have to learn to use like try and accept catches and like everything. And then also just like relearning Python was a struggle, because I haven't used Python in a while, even though it is technically easier. And I think that's that. Okay, thank you.